Life, at its core, is a brutal test. A test of will, of strength, and of the choices we make when everything falls apart. No one escapes its harshness. No one is immune to the crushing weight of failure, loss, and uncertainty. We are all vulnerable, but within that vulnerability lies the potential for something greater. This story is not just about success or failure. It's not about riches or comfort. It's about confronting the darkness, accepting what you cannot change, and finding the strength to rise again. This is the story of a man who, like all of us, was crushed by the weight of life's demands, but found something far more valuable than wealth along the way: the true power of the Stoic mind. Prepare yourself, for this is not a tale of easy victories. It is a journey through the storms of life, where survival itself is the greatest triumph.
Juan, an aspiring entrepreneur, is initially driven by the dream of financial independence. He works tirelessly, thinking that wealth and success will bring him happiness. However, despite his hard work, his business faces setbacks, and soon he begins to realize that his hopes may be fleeting. His debts mount, and a sense of impending doom starts to creep in.
Juan had believed in the illusion that hard work would yield rewards, that his efforts would build a life of stability and success. Yet, the winds of fortune blew in another direction. The truth is, life is not fair. We cannot control the external events that shape us. This is the lesson that Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, would remind us of. It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Juan was learning this truth the hard way. Epictetus teaches that we are not disturbed by the events themselves, but by how we perceive and react to them. Juan's first fall begins when he learns that expectations lead to suffering. External circumstances are beyond our control. What matters is how we respond to them.
Juan's worst fears come true. His business fails. He loses his job. The life he had built starts to unravel. Financial ruin seems inevitable. His debts are too large, and creditors come knocking at his door. He is alone and feels helpless.
In the depth of loss, when the walls of one's world crumble, the Stoic is called to remember: the loss of anything is not a tragedy. The tragedy lies in the attachment we have to things, as Seneca would say. Juan had attached his self-worth to the material world, believing that his success and possessions defined him. The truth, though, was that those things were never truly his to keep. Seneca teaches us that attachment to external things leads to suffering. When Juan loses everything, he must learn that his identity was never tied to his wealth or possessions. The true test is how we handle loss, and the Stoic teaches that detachment is the key to liberation.
In the wake of his losses, Juan is consumed with despair. But one day, while sorting through his belongings, he finds a book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He begins to read. Slowly, his perspective shifts. As he reflects on the words of the Stoics, Juan starts to understand that suffering is part of life's natural flow, and it is in how he reacts to it that he finds his power.
Marcus Aurelius taught us that life is full of challenges, but it is how we face them that matters. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, he wrote. Juan began to see that it wasn't his circumstances that defined his suffering, but his mind. He realized that suffering could become his teacher. Instead of resisting, he could choose to embrace the lessons of hardship.
Juan starts writing in his journal. I cannot control what happens to me, but I can control how I face it. He begins to meditate daily, focusing on self-discipline, mindfulness, and finding peace within the chaos.
Juan learned that the path to redemption wasn't about escaping hardship, but about embracing it. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Juan understood that his journey to redemption required him to align his actions with virtue, not success. Marcus Aurelius teaches that true happiness comes from within and is shaped by our thoughts and responses. Juan learns that true power lies in controlling his mind and choosing to act with virtue, regardless of external circumstances.
Juan faces another challenge. Even though his mindset has shifted, the world around him does not change easily. He continues to struggle financially and emotionally, yet he refuses to let defeat define him. He accepts that life will always throw obstacles in his way. But each obstacle is an opportunity to practice Stoic virtue.
Defeat is inevitable in life. Chrysippus once said, "We are not born for success, but for struggle." Juan found that life's value is not in avoiding defeat, but in the strength to face it repeatedly. It is in this endurance that the Stoic finds victory, not in the accumulation of wealth, but in the cultivation of strength of character.
Juan wakes up early every day, works diligently, and refuses to succumb to despair. His situation doesn't improve instantly, but his mindset is now one of peace amidst struggle. He is no longer fighting the world, but adapting to it with resilience.
Victory, the Stoics teach us, is not about triumphing over others, but about conquering our own desires and fears. Juan now understands that victory lies in his own determination, not in how life treats him. Chrysippus reminds us that life is a struggle, and victory is found in how we endure hardship. True success is inner strength and virtue, not the temporary fleeting rewards the world offers.
Years have passed. Juan's financial situation has not changed significantly, but his outlook has. He no longer desires wealth for the sake of wealth. He is free from the chains of materialism and external success. His mind is at peace. He understands that true liberation comes from within.
The final lesson Juan learned is the ultimate Stoic truth. Freedom lies not in external success, but in internal control. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught that true freedom is achieved when we are no longer enslaved by our desires for things we cannot control. Juan found that peace and liberation come from aligning with nature, accepting hardship, and focusing on virtue rather than wealth or status.
Juan walks through his old neighborhood, now content. He does not crave wealth or approval. He has found peace in his own heart, for he knows that the world will give and take as it pleases, but his inner strength remains unshaken.
Juan's story is the story of us all. The world will break us. It will take everything from us. But in the end, it cannot take our minds, our virtue, and our strength. As Musonius Rufus teaches us, no matter how hard life is, the Stoic remains steadfast, for the foundation of his soul is unshakable. Zeno teaches us that true freedom comes from living in alignment with nature, accepting that we cannot control the world around us, but we can control our reactions. Musonius Rufus teaches that self-discipline and virtue are the keys to inner liberation. Juan has achieved this liberation by living with acceptance and inner peace, regardless of the material circumstances. And so Juan's journey comes to a close, not with the applause of others, not with the reward he once sought, but with something far more profound, the peace that comes from within. He no longer seeks approval, no longer craves material wealth, for he has learned the most difficult lesson of all, that the world will break you, but only if you let it. The Stoic knows that strength is not found in the absence of pain, but in how we choose to meet it. It is in the acceptance of hardship and the refusal to be enslaved by it that true freedom lies. Juan's story may be one of struggle and loss, but it is also a story of liberation. A reminder that though life may steal everything from us, it can never take away the power we have to choose how we respond. And in that, we are truly free. In the end, it's not the wealth you accumulate or the success you achieve. It's how you stand when the world seeks to crush you. And that, my friend, is the essence of Stoic strength.